All right, hello, and what's up, everybody? Welcome to the second episode of the SoulCast, where we bring to you the knowledge and the goodness and the people and that hopefully you should know and whatnot. So I am Scott, aka Zhang on the boards. Pretty easy to get a hold of me. Hopefully, if you listen to the first episode, so if you need to know anything about me or my lovely and beautiful co-host Billy Laship, Lanam, as he's known in these parts. You can go back and check us out if you need history on us. So we actually had two big tournaments happen not too long ago, MLG and then NCR. So this episode, our guest was in attendance for MLG, so we'll be focusing on that, and then just a little preview for our next podcast. We're going to get somebody on who did pretty well at the NCR tournament, so hopefully if you're into that on the West Coast, you can look forward to that. So without further ado, since you already know who we are, let me introduce our guest, the just as lovely and beautiful Esom. What is going on, dude?
Hi, everybody.
So, well, first, since I'm not a huge douche, Billy, why don't you say hi, just so people know you're alive?
Yo, I'm alive.
Appreciate it.
It's the best.
Because you didn't, me and Bibulus, we kind of just bogarted the whole podcast last time, so I want to make sure we don't do that this time and get you.
Well, there's no terrible delay like there was last time, so it should be easier for me to sneak in comments here and there.
That's true. Yeah, we're getting pretty good reception right now. So Esom, so if you've been around a while, and by a while I mean like 5+ years, then people probably know who you are. But there's a lot of people who are going to be listening to this who are probably a little bit newer or don't really branch out from Soul Calibur all that much. So your resume, at least in Soul Calibur, is very long and very impressive. So so I want to.
I've done okay.
Just like other parts of them.
Yeah. Thank you. That was the lead-in I was trying to give. So
it's still sponsored by Extends. Is that what we're talking about?
Oh yes, it's very much sponsored by Extends. Where is Dan when we need him? God damn it. Well, anyway, so for those who don't know you somehow, kind of give them a little brief overview. Give them the PowerPoint presentation with the most important moments in your gaming career.
Well, as far as Soul Calibur goes, I started playing in Soul Calibur 2, and I went down to Chicago to play with that whole crew a lot. And at that time, I wasn't that good. I mean, I could win locals and everything, but I hadn't really made a name for myself. Soul Calibur 3. Nobody played that game, at least nobody worth their salt. And then Soul Calibur 4, when my character, Valdo, was a good character, I was able to break out, and I did a lot of good stuff. I got a couple of top 10s at EVO, and I got picked to represent the USA at the World Game Cup in France. And we did pretty well out there, too. So, new game now, though, so we're all starting from scratch, and I hope to do as well as I did last time.
Well, I can only hope, since we see you pretty often. I need some good comp. I can't be having no shitty scrubs around. So that...
Well, certainly you will be a Valdo pro by the time I get done with you. That one character will not give you trouble.
I certainly hope so, because I can tell you that I don't have a huge problem with Natsu, mainly because of Billy, so it's nice to get that variety out there. So cool. So we have that, and just in case anyone's curious, you do branch out. You don't play just Excalibur, but
yeah. Well, I play some Tekken begrudgingly, just because that's what the kids in this area are into. I
just quit that. I was like, nope, I ain't playing this.
Good man. I have been trying to go cold turkey forever, and I just can't do it.
And then Dan comes around. He's like, hey, play me.
Yeah.
Play me, please.
And, of course, League of Legends. I do play a lot of League of Legends.
Apparently everybody does but me. And I'm going to hold out. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to fold.
Oh, you don't even... Diablo 3 is coming out soon, so you just might as well hold out for that.
That's true. I am. I'm taking a week off for Diablo 3, as I think like everyone is. But
yeah, pretty much. It's going to be like worldwide hooky day for that whole week.
Pretty much. It'll be fun times. So, okay, cool. So now we got a little background on you, Esom. So let's talk MLG. MLG. So everybody wants to know who didn't go, because obviously, MLG picking up games, especially fighting games, I mean, their payouts are huge. I mean, plain and simple. They have so much sponsorship support, and, they do these huge events that it's just a big deal. I personally, I'm not a huge fan of MLG, but I recognize the importance when they pick up stuff like this. So
I'm really happy with their choice to pick up Soul Calibur. From my point of view, though, MLG was an unmitigated disaster. It was probably the worst tournament I've ever been to in my life.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's unfortunate.
That is really unfortunate.
Well, that makes for an even more interesting podcast. So I just can't wait.
Lots of good stories.
Okay, well let's talk the specifics first, and then we can kind of zoom out and go more general. So, when I read the bracket on MLG, like, their brackets are so fucked up and hard to read. I have, like, at first I thought you went 1 and 2, and then Billy told me that no, I think you went like 4 and 2 or 5 and 2 or something like that. So I was like, what the?
My official score 5 and 1.
5. Okay, so you're gonna have to explain that. So how did that work?
So they changed the rules at the last second. One of the rules was if you are a loser in your battle, you can then choose your stage for the next game. Everybody universally hated that rule. I mean, that is a rule made for like Halo or even StarCraft or something, but it's not a rule for fighting games, and everybody knew it. So everybody got up in arms and forced them to change it. So last second they changed it to both players must agree to a specific change or a specific stage, otherwise you must go random, right? My very first game, I sat down and I play. I'm not going to name the guy because I like the guy, but he's a Siegfried player, and Siegfried is a ring-out character. So choosing a stage obviously gives that character a huge, huge advantage. Already over the advantage that Siegfried just destroys Voldo in general. I take him to the last game, and then he finally decides to choose his stage. He switches to the smallest stage in the game, the green one with the little railings on the side that you can break. Yeah. And I said, whoa. I don't agree to that. That's obviously going to give him an advantage. And I said, I want to go random. And he says, well, that's part of the rules. I can choose as the loser. And I said, I think they changed that. Let's call over a judge. Called over the judge. Judge says, no, he's within his rights to do that. He was completely mistaken. He didn't know his rules, but whatever. He made that call. I got up to go talk to the head judge later, and the head judge says, no, you were correct. Both players have to agree, and if they don't, then you go random. But by that point, they had already moved on and would not allow me to play that last game. So they just gave my opponent the win and moved on.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so I mean, these guys might have had a lot of experience running Halo tournaments or whatever first-person shooter games are going on, or StarCraft, whatever. These guys had no idea what they were doing when it came to a fighting game. It was atrocious. So
you should have had me run that tournament.
You were Jason.
I will give it to them that they ran a very quick tournament and it seemed to be very efficient, but there was breakdowns all over the place like that these people just don't understand the way fighting games work. It's not part of their scene.
How did they justify just not playing that last match and giving him?
They didn't. There was no reason given why we couldn't play the last match. They just moved on.
Wow.
And by the time I brought it to him, it's not like they'd started the second round. My opponent was just sitting there getting ready to play the next guy because the original judge told him go ahead and move on, whatever. And I'm like, let me just go back and play the stage. It hasn't begun yet. And they're like, we're too late. I'm like, the guy is sitting right there. He hasn't played his game. If I win the opponent, I mean, there's no difference to allow me to play this last game. But they didn't. So double elimination bracket. I went 5 and 1. Figure that out.
That is unheard of. Like, fighting game tournaments will literally just completely ditch their entire schedule to make sure everybody plays the matches they're supposed to play. That's crazy.
Wow.
I
was very upset. Also, looking at the brackets, had I won that very first match, I wouldn't have even met an opponent capable of beating me until top 8.
Wow. That is very unfortunate. I can't. That's just that blows my mind that they just ignored it. Nope, sorry, our schedule says we have to move on. So
that's just from my perspective. I mean, other people like Kayane and Kiev, who came over from France, they were guaranteed that there would be seeding going on, or at least regional seeding, so you wouldn't have to play people from your next door. Kiev and Kayane, coming from France, had to play each other. They were in the same bracket.
Yeah, I saw that actually when I was looking through the bracket, and I was like, huh. Because I was pretty sure like Kiev, the Nightmare player from 4 that I'd like checked out here and there back in the day, and I was like, oh, okay. And I saw that they played like in like quarterfinals or something like that, and I was like, what is going on? Why wouldn't they just place them at the opposite sides of the bracket? To ensure that the only way they could have met would have been in the winner or losers final.
Because they're the only two French players, right? It was just them.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just the two of them. And they flew over specifically for this tournament. They came here, they played the tournament, they flew back to France. I mean, it's not like this is part of a tour or anything. This is just the one thing that they came for, and they were guaranteed in advance. That's the whole reason that they came, that they would be split apart and they could each fight for the big money.
Wow. Oh, man. That's ridiculous. So, so what did you, according to their, trashy, fucked up brackets, what did you end up placing?
I think 13th or 16th. I'm not sure.
I think it was 13th when I checked.
What was the total turnout? How many people did they have?
There was like 80, I think.
80?
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
That's not great though either.
No, it's not.
No, I mean, the whole tournament though, like there was almost nobody there that was not capable of top 8 though. Like it was a very high quality tournament in terms of the actual players.
It was a Tekken tournament.
Yeah. Everybody there was a killer.
Well,
there were no bot monsters really.
Well, hey, that's a good thing. At least you're getting your money's worth, so to speak.
Yeah. Another big failing on their part. It was the pre-patch version that we all played. So
yeah, I wanted to ask about that as well because I was like watching some of like the losers bracket, and I saw RTD, and I was like, oh, I wonder who he's going to play, and he picked Natsu, and I was like, oh, he can't be playing on the new patch. And then I saw the 6A plus B give the crumple on counter hit, and I was like, oh, yep, why are they playing pre-patch?
Yeah, the NCR going on at the exact same time had the patch version. I mean, anybody else playing by this point is playing on patch.
Yeah, I didn't understand it either. I was actually talking to Billy about that earlier today, that it really didn't make any sense. Like what, but kind of the story that you told earlier, like it doesn't seem like they really justify any of the decisions they make. They just do it. Yeah. Like we're just going to do this because
and really in all aspects they didn't change anything to accommodate fighting game players. Like even the stream was set up in order to accommodate a very long single match between two players, like StarCraft or something. They would play one game or one match between two players, and then go to a commercial for 15 minutes, and then come back for another. So like the day 2, you saw maybe 6 games all together in the 2.5 hours or 3 hours that we had.
Yeah, that was kind of silly. I did notice that. Like you could tell like the people who were casting it as well were kind of like, okay, and we're going to another commercial break, and I was like, huh, that's very peculiar the way that they decided to do that. I mean, if it was StarCraft and you played, for 25, 30 minutes because you had to play a best of 3 and then, you won 2 maps or whatever. I mean, that's totally understandable. You need a break. People need a break from watching, Zerg run over Zerg or whatnot. But like when it's a fighting, like especially with Soul Calibur 5, like damage gets dealt in generous helpings and at least pre-patch. So like matches are over in like 10 to 20 seconds. Or like rounds are over in 10 to 20 seconds. Like a whole match can take a minute sometimes.
Yeah,
it runs really quick. But that's always been one of the big pet peeves with MLG is that it's designed for these big, massive games with huge followings like StarCraft, Halo. They do their WoW shit on occasion or whatever. So they every time they pick up a fighting game, it goes to shit because they have like nobody who knows what they're doing. It's all about sponsors, so they have to fit them in there wherever they can. And I mean, don't get me wrong, $6,000 for an 80-player tournament is badass, but
that's baller.
Yeah,
that's baller status right there.
What was the total? It was 10,000, I think, was the total payout.
16,000.
16,000. Yeah. I mean, that is insane. So
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of worth it, but
But on a general ignorance of the people running this thing, after the debacle with my first match, I went up to the main judge and I said, I should still be in winners. You have already agreed that I should still have been able to play. You just moved on without me. Only people in winners bracket are getting up on that stream. Why don't you make it up to me? I'll call the wash. Just put me on the stream and I'll be happy. And I was arguing with this guy, and his like side TO guy, the guy that was like announcing matches and whatnot, told me, stop arguing. MLG was here before you, will be here after you. Just sit down and shut your mouth. I'm like, the MLG has been around for, what, 5-6 years now? I've been part of this community since 93. I mean, I'm sorry, this guy didn't know who I am, but fuck that guy. I mean, there's no reason that I should not have, taken my rightful place among those people on that stage.
But, again, it's the whole MLG attitude. And this is why people, well, not people, but fighting games and the fighting game community fucking hates MLG. Like, they don't show us any respect. Nobody there knows anything about fighting games. So when you, as a reputable player, step up to try to say something and correct a wrong, they don't care. They just fucking brush you off. And, like, it makes me so mad.
I mean, outside of the tournament, I had a lot of fun. I saw a lot of top players. I got a lot of matches in, but this just soured me completely on MLG. I don't care about the pot. I just want to have some fun, and they ruined that for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think most people, unless you're like Justin Wong or something who's all about the payday, like most people will tell you when they go to a tournament, especially like big tournaments, like Evo or whatever, their main concern is not about winning. They just want to play up until they lose twice, and they just want to do it fairly, and they want to get good matches in. They want to have some stories to tell, stories that are not bad. So,
speaking of Justin Wong, though, he was actually at that tournament and went 2-0.
I heard that. I did hear that he got beasted on, but
he got rolled up.
But hey, at least he entered.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta give props to that dude for trying to play every game ever made ever. I mean, I'm sure if they had a karate tournament, he'd be down. So
I was actually just about to say that too, because I would imagine he was probably there for Street Fighter or whatever, but
I think he was there for KOF.
Yeah, no, he had the Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did do MK. I forgot about that. Yeah, but that's his thing. I remember I've actually played Justin Wong in a Tekken tournament because for whatever reason he plays it. Like there's no real reason. He just does.
Yeah, I got to play him in Tekken at Midwest Championships, and he kind of knew what he was doing back then. But
yeah, absolutely. I actually played him at UFGT. Well, no, sorry, I watched him play at UFGT 7. That's not when I played him. But he was playing some really simple jack. Just doing the basics. So, but that's how he wins. He's so good at the fundamentals for every game. So except for Caliber apparently. So. But okay, so we got kind of the sour note out there for the actual tournament itself. So so it sounds like MLG, the way they ran it was kind of shit. So tell us, because I'm kind of curious, like how everyone felt about everyone was playing on the unpatched version. Did when you guys played casuals, did you play any of on the patched, and did you talk to anybody about what they thought about the patch and how the game has changed because of that? Or
well, at the actual venue they had some setups for casual matches, but they were all the same systems that they'd been using, so pretty much if we were playing at the venue, everything was unpatched, and everybody sort of universally agrees there's a lot of unbalanced broken stuff going on that really needed to be patched, and it got patched. We just didn't have that opportunity to play on a more balanced system. Like even Hawkeye, the Natsu player that won final round, or
he got
second and final round. Yeah, he said, "Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to drop my character as soon as we start playing on the patch version. But as long as MLG's allowing this bullshit, I'm taking advantage."
Yeah, I already dropped Natsu.
I mean, it's a different character now. I mean, it's not free damage for BS.
She's not bad on this patch. I just don't like having. It's like I'm gonna go on a rant here, totally off of MLG just for a second, but like, okay, so like Taki and 2, because I was a big 2 player. She had to guess right a lot to win, but she was able to put you in these situations where she could guess wrong and not get punished very badly or at all with the, TXE and EXE and stuff. But now they nerfed Natsu so much with all of her damage that she has to guess right 20 times a match to win, where there's still other characters who have to guess 5 times a match to beat you. And it's like, really? It's like, you could have done one of 3 things to fix the character, but then you decided to do all 3 of the things and make the character like she's a new Yun-Sun, but a little better.
I'm sure they would counter with this character is extremely fast, and your 20 guesses will come out way faster than like Astaroth's 5 guesses. But yeah, I mean, they definitely hit her with a very big nerf bat.
Yeah, my character didn't change at all.
Anyways, continue on now that I'm done ranting.
Most of the changes I would absolutely agree with, just in general from this patch. A lot of things that really needed to be changed, like the couple of characters who didn't recover guard meter between rounds, Voldo being one of them, of course.
Yeah, that needed to be fixed.
That definitely needed to be fixed. Like I thought when I was first playing the game, like, oh, they've just nerfed my guard damage. That's why I'm losing to everybody else in a guard race. But no, it's just 'cause I wasn't getting my guard meter back between rounds.
Yeah, there was like 5 or 6 characters that happened to, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
How did you let that go by? Did people just not play these characters when you play tested it? Like, oh, these people suck anyway, so whatever. We just won't look at this.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was Wei and there was Voldo among the 5, so it's like, who's going to play those characters? Well, let it go, even if they did know about it.
It makes you wonder, like, did anybody play test them? Like the French guys and whoever else was in on the strategy guide. Obviously somebody had to pick up Voldo and play them to write that section, but you have to wonder how much time and matches did they actually put in. But, that's what it is. The pad, it's really weird. Did you guys happen to go like off site to like somebody's room or anything to play some actual contemporary matches?
Yeah, afterwards we all kind of went up to Omega XCN's room, and most of the East Coast players and the Midwest players we all did our money matches and whatnot up there. So we got to play. Games were a little more even. I got to play a really long set against Kiev, and there's another thing that kind of pissed me off about MLG. I just rolled Kiev up. He had no idea what he was doing against Voldo. So, I mean, had I gotten to him, that would have been my 6,000. The same thing with Ryujin. Like, I love the guy. He's a really funny guy. I like hanging out with him. He's not that good at this game. He got where he got by MLG's ridiculous decision not to seed anybody.
That's how it works, though. You know what? That's kind of always been like, personally speaking. I like the mentality of the double elimination bracket and just elimination brackets in general, because it's like it's all kind of random and you have to win your matches that you come up against. But at the same time, I there's always in the back of my mind, I come from a chess background, so I'm used to like the Swiss system, round robin, that sort of thing, which is far more accurate when it comes to actually placing people at the end of the day, as it pertains to skill. And in the back of my mind, throughout my entire fighting game career, I've always wanted for somebody to like step up and do some sort of sweeping change to the way that we run our tournaments. Because I would be, man, I would shit myself if like Evo or something would do a Swiss system or a round robin or so. I mean, they do their little round or pools. But outside of the pools, then it eventually, once you get a certain number of people whittled away, then it goes back to the double elimination bracket. But
yeah, the first Evo I ever played in though was a round robin like that for the pools. Like you had a 5-person pool and you all played everybody.
Yep.
I like that. I like that a lot. But now getting to the point where there are just so many players, it's not a feasible choice anymore.
Yeah, which is a shame. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I was always curious how, because I never really looked into it, but I was always curious how, like, Oh, you know what? Never mind. I'm an idiot. I was gonna say I don't know how like chess ever made it accurate when you have hundreds and hundreds of people and you only have 4 rounds or whatever, 5, 6 rounds, whatever it is. It's like, how do you make that accurate? But they seed, obviously people by their rating. Something that, again, I wish we had, but we don't.
Yeah, we need a ELO system.
We need something. I mean, everybody whines about, oh my God, system won't work. Our biggest problem, and this is the reason that we don't have a rating system and shouldn't, the biggest problem with the fighting game right now is like we're so disconnected. Like every tournament does their own thing, and slowly but surely, Evo is starting to become that central hub where everything is becoming an Evo qualifier, and then it's kind of filtering into Evo being the central thing. But and in order for a rating system to really work, every tournament would have to be connected. Otherwise, it would just be inaccurate. But sorry, that was my little little rant. But yeah, I mean, that's always the problem you face with a double elimination bracket. I mean, you get somebody who just kind of rides their way to winners finals because they're playing nothing but scrubs the whole way. It happens. It's definitely not unheard of, but.
Oh, I got to tell this story too. This is actually for Ted for Cocaine. So when the game first came out, I was playing Cervantes, and I was using my old Soul Calibur 2 Cervantes strategy, which is knock somebody down and run up and either throw or run up and 6-6 them back onto the ground. My second match in Losers was actually a guy who did just that, and I was on the receiving end of this, and I've never been on the receiving, and it was so frustrating. Like, I had to play the most turtley game I've ever played in my life to beat this guy. It was nuts.
Oh, wow. You gotta love basic 50-50s. Like, hey, what's up?
And he is the character for it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, I have a question for you about MLG again, real quick, while we're on the topic. How did you feel about the no double jeopardy rule in the matches?
Where like you keep the score that you had from before if you have to fight the same guy. That only came up if Kiev and something unique would have had to fight each other a second time, and I guess it's something that's just not going to happen all that often. So, I mean, it's not a very fair system. Obviously, you should be able to reset a bracket and be back to null again. But I think it just happens so infrequently that it's not something that most people have to even worry about.
Well, like, I was like looking at the rules for it because I was just curious as to what kind of rules MLG is going to have. If they're going to throw anything like crazy, which obviously they did with the patch. But like, I saw that they're keeping that rule that's basically like a really for StarCraft, Yeah. And I was like, why are they implementing this rule? So it's like, oh, instead of having to beat you 3 times, I have to beat you 5 times to reset a bracket. I thought that was just kind of ridiculous, and I was kind of baffled by the fact that they'd even like suggest that.
Yeah, it's definitely not in the spirit of fighting game tournaments. I mean, they have their background in first-person shooters and real-time strategy, where most people will keep the same race or character or whatever, no matter how many times they play. But in fighting games, I mean, there's always the counter pick option or getting a lucky stage or something like that, and taking advantage that way. But like, it's just not. It doesn't come up a lot.
Which is a huge part of the game too. Counterpicking stage. Well, especially in Caliber, counterpicking stages, characters, whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it goes again to what we were talking about earlier, where they don't really understand how fighting games need to be run and so on. But we were actually at our monthly tournament, which happened the same weekend. I completely agree with what Murphigator said. He doesn't play Caliber. He's actually a 2D guy. But we were with that topic came up, and I remember Billy and him were talking about it, and he said he doesn't agree with it either, but at the same time he understands why they were doing it, because of the whole idea where if 2 people play twice in the same bracket and you play the exact same number of games and you have an even split where it's what would it be? I think it'd be 5-5 or something along those lines, and only one person advances. So that's what they're trying to avoid. But yeah, I mean I agree. It's not something that's really in the spirit of fighting games or the double elimination bracket. But kind of what Murph said. I understand the mentality and the perspective of why they would want to keep that, but they shouldn't. They shouldn't have. But they shouldn't have done a lot of things. So I guess that's just kind of how it goes. So okay, so you played a bunch of games afterwards. So other than your one long set against Kyiv, any other notable games or matchups or anything?
I played a little bit of all the top players, at least the first to 5 against most people, and it kind of just it solidified my idea that Valdo, my character, just isn't the character that he once was. It used to be that he would have tools for every situation, but in this new game they've pared down his move list to about half of what it used to be, and I'm just sort of floundering with the moves that they allowed me to still have. And I'm actually in the process of compiling like all of the major bugs and deficits that Valdo has, and I'm gonna send them into Namco because I've been asked to review Valdo in particular. So
have you really?
Hopefully they will take a look at my suggestions, and he will at least be on par for the rest of the game.
Is that pretty typical when they go through because I'll be completely honest. I mean, I've been around the fighting game community for a while, but I really don't know. I mean, this patch thing is so new to fighting games. I don't really know how the process that they go through it. Do they typically hunt down like top players and like try to get these kind of dossiers on characters?
In the past, no. They would do like a focus group or something and just have people come in and play the game and then poll them on the results. But patching online is such a new thing for them that they are sort of looking for different avenues of input now. And
the fighting game community is, that's where you should go. And I know, Mark Mann, Filthy Rich, those guys, that's a perfect funnel to get those kinds of opinions. So. Okay, well, hopefully you'll make your character better. That'd be nice. So I guess let's talk about the patch then. That the most recent version of this game. So does everyone seem like kind of on the same boat as you, where it the patch wasn't perfect, obviously, but it fixed a lot of the things that needed to be fixed.
It patched a lot of really glaring holes. There are a little more sophisticated changes that need to still be made. Like, for instance, Natsu getting ridiculous combos off of the Wall Rising April's Plea, throwing the stars down and stuff. They got rid of that, and they toned down her combo potential. I think that was warranted. Also, Maxi's damage output was through the roof, and that got toned down a bit. But they sort of also buffed characters who I feel that were fine the way they were, like Viola or Tira. Their patch notes are like a page each.
Yeah.
I thought they were sort of mid-tier characters, and that's average. That's where they should be. That's where most characters should be. But some of the changes to them, I think, were not really warranted. But they've promised that another patch is already in the works, and even more changes will be coming that they feel the community should be happy with.
Thank God. And just a note for any of those people out there who are thinking about running tournaments and whatnot, just play the most recent version of the game. we know enough of the system that it's not as big a wrench in the whole thing as MLG might seem to make it. So just play the most recent version. Don't keep unpatched versions. It's just bad. It's bad for business. But I was super sad with the patch, only because they gave my character 2 changes, and they were not very big changes at all.
That was for Astaroth?
No, Yoshi. Although Astaroth, again, the 2 characters I know best, and a total of 5 changes, I think. Oh man, which I actually thought was really funny, because I still play Astaroth a bunch. I need a 2A. I need something quick to get you off my face, because I'm a good defensive player, but I'm not that good where I can just guard and sidestep and get around you whenever I feel like it. But I was reading over the Astaroth notes, and they like super buffed his super, made it faster, does more damage. And apparently, according to the note, it said that it fixed some glitches where people would go under it for whatever reason. And I can't remember if it was Billy I was playing, but I was playing somebody not too long ago, just the other day, and they went under it. Like, they were just standing there. They weren't ducking. And I want to say it was Natsu, which is why I think it might have been Billy, or not Billy, but you know what? It was actually on our monthly. It was a guy named Ken Howe, and he was playing Natsu, and he fucking went under. He was just standing there. Wasn't ducking, wasn't doing anything. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks for fixing that glitch. That's awesome. But, oh, well.
Also, one of their guiding principles when they were first developing the game, and one of the reasons certain moves like wall landing moves were just completely taken out of the game, is because they felt that the skill cap for the game was too high for new players coming into the game for the first time. And yet, the just frames in this game are some of the strictest just frames in Soul Calibur ever. A lot of Yoshi's just frames and Alpha Dracula's just frames were ridiculously hard, and I think they did need to widen that window like they did in this most recent patch.
They actually made the window for his 1BB smaller.
Yoshi?
Oh, no, I was talking about for Patron Silver.
Oh, right. But so, for Umbrella, they actually widened it, right?
I don't think so. But maybe I don't remember seeing it in the patch notes.
Well,
I just remember they say
this is from the information I was getting from Woes, so I mean that's his character. I thought.
Well, then he knows way more than I do. I can't ever detest that guy's skill. So.
By the way, that was my one loss in MLG to Woes.
Well, hey, at least it was somebody good, real killers. I wish they would make there's some just frames that I really wish they didn't have. Alpha, he gets so much damage on some of that stuff that it kind of makes sense. I mean, it's insanely strict, or at least it was. But like Yoshi, I really wish Manji Fist was not a one frame shift. That would be really awesome. But,
or that A slide B plus K wasn't so damn strict.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that so much. Although I'm a pad player, so I noticed that it's a little easier to do on a stick. Not a lot, but it's a little bit easier. But one of the problems I have on a pad is that when you're trying to slide across those buttons so quick, even if you're using multiple fingers, sometimes you'll still hit the analog, which fucks up your timing. Like you're just trying to do it so quick that it just kind of messes with everything. But for whatever reason, the A slide B plus K, since you can just set a button to it, you just kind of do it that way. But little tricks, little button setting tricks.
But yeah, going back to the wall landing thing, I was talking to WC Maxi. Right when that game was going to come out or was about to come out or something, and I was like, hey, did they put wall landing moves back into the game? And he's like, nope, they're gone, never to return. And I was pretty sad by that, because then this game had some of the craziest stress frames of all time. So I mean, maybe not of all time, because you have Akira Knee and all, but I mean, if you want to do Alpha Patroclus' big damage combos, it's not only do you have to do strict just frames, but then you have to buffer strict just frames. Right. So it's a just frame buffer to a just frame move, and it's oh, well, good old wall landing moves. Too hard for people.
Those were very difficult.
Those were super difficult. But hopefully
you might as well just keep it jumping. That's just too hard.
Esom, you probably play Travis on a regular occasion, Shabbat, but his favorite thing. Obviously, it's not wall landing, but his favorite thing to fucking do is jump B. That's his thing. He's like, oh, you're running up, jump B, jump B, jump B. If you do
that's more born out of the Minnesota way, which is end every round with a 2K. Doesn't matter if your opponent knows it's coming, 2K, and he is so anti-Minnesota that he resorts to dirty tactics like jumping B.
But you gotta kind of admire it, because it kills two options. If you grab or you low, he's gonna hit you. So
right, but that's just dissing his Minnesota brethren. He needs to either take it or block it like a man.
Oh my god, I can't. I get really salty, just as salty as anybody else on online matches and whatnot. But I can't like even express how happy and I am when I end a round by doing like 3 straight 2 or 1Ks and just doing it over and over and over again. And they're just
That's the way to play.
It is the way.
That is the most honorable way to play.
Stay committed. You have to stay committed. You made that choice. Too fucking funny. So okay, so outside of the actual caliber matches that you played, anything else noteworthy that happened at that MLG that you think maybe people should know about, or any stories that?
Well, this is still inside MLG, but I thought this was kind of interesting. A while ago, there was that esports debacle with Mike Ross having like that fake beef going on. Apparently, they thought, well, that didn't work the first time, but let's try that again. Two players from the Mortal Kombat scene, Perfect Legend and I forgot the other guys. It was like Paper Legend or something like that. Had some sort of beef going on there. And the Paper Legend put out a bounty on taking out Perfect Legend from the tournament. And he gave like $300 to anybody who could eliminate him, and an additional $250 if you Babaladied him. And, if people don't know how to get Babalities, apparently you can't block in the final round of your match. If you block, you're unable to use this. So this guy not only eliminated Perfect Legend, who's probably one of the best players of that game, but did it without blocking in his final round, and Baballied him and took home the $550 at the end of the tournament, in addition to whatever pot he won. I thought that was fantastic.
That is fantastic. That's super fucking impressive.
So if fake or not, I don't know why they even came up with this. I don't know the story behind it, but putting out a bounty on a player so that all these other players are just gunning for the guy, that is top tier.
That is top tier. Do you know what I haven't even checked them. Man, I haven't checked like anything on Mortal Kombat in forever. What did he end up getting? Do you know?
Perfect Legend? Yeah. I feel like he didn't even make it to top 8 unless he was number 8, like the bottom of his payout scale. But I feel like he got eliminated.
Rio. VVV Rio won.
Gotcha. Huh. How do you know what granted this has nothing to do with caliber obviously, but do you know like what the turnout was? Was it pretty good for MK? Or
I don't know the numbers for MK, but King of Fighters, I believe, only had 18 people signed up online, and then maybe 5 or 6 more people who signed up at the door. Wow. But that was a $16,000 tournament with 22, 23 players.
Oh my god, dude, I would have fucking entered. Seriously, like, all you have to do is win once, and you get paid.
Yeah, I think we figured out. You win 2 games, you get money. That's all it took.
Oh my god, I would have seriously picked that game up and drove to MLG. Oh, that's ridiculous. Wow.
And of course, the Mexican players are usually like the toppest of the top tier in that game. They're just untouchable and whatnot. So at least the first 2 placers were Mexican players, but the difference in skill level between the guy who actually won it and everybody else was so insurmountable. Like, I've never seen people just get continuously beat down like this guy was doing. It was amazing. Like, I don't even pay much attention to that game, but everybody was like, "Oh, check this guy out," and I was just watching him roll people up all night long.
Yeah, I'll never play the game just because I'm not a 2D guy, but it looks cool. It looks really sleek. It looks really finished. It looks
super fun.
It looks like a really solid
when we
game.
watch people play it, it looks really exciting. I don't know. I just don't play 2D games, so that's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat. Like, I was watching it. I remember watching it on the stream for Final Round, and it was I was surprised at how enjoyable it was while watching the game. But it is what it is. So that actually kind of reminds me of another question I wanted to ask. How was because I haven't been able to watch, or I haven't tried to watch any. I mean, I've been too busy to try to like look up any of the stream stuff or recorded matches for MLG. Was it pretty even for like top 8, or was Kiev just like ahead of everybody?
Kiev seemed just to be floating unopposed all the way through to the end. I think the only person that even gave him a run for his money was RTD right at the end.
And he still got beat pretty soundly.
Yeah.
Huh. But patch version, that's not the case.
Well, because one of the things that he was throwing people off with so much was Nightmare can do his regular backdash like everybody can do, and then he can go into his like night backstands or night side stance, whatever that's called, where he takes an additional step back and holds his sword to the side. He would do that to make even the longest distance moves whiff right in front of his face and be in perfect position to retaliate. And he, no matter how often people took precautions to be within range, he was just barely out of their range every single time. He basically won on the strength of his spacing game.
Gotcha. But
that's a good fundamental to have right there.
That is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they tweaked the backdash, right, in the patch, so I can't imagine that works nearly as well.
Well, the way I understand it is they increased the time that you can't guard while backdashing to about 20 frames, so you can then block on the 21st frame. But I think you can still input moves, and that switch into stance counts as inputting a move. So you can backdash and then do your stance before that 20-frame window comes up.
So then I guess that kind of begs the question: what was the difference in his gameplay from the unpatched to the patch version?
He actually switched to Viola in his patch version. He's kind of stopped playing Nightmare when he was playing money matches with people. But in just casual play, since I don't do money matches, he stuck with his Nightmare. And just through Valdo's huge range and his unfamiliarity with the character, it didn't seem to make a huge difference for me. But everybody else was still having the same problems. They were just barely out of range and whiffing right in front of his face, which you don't want to do against a Nightmare.
That's pretty solid. I didn't realize that night side stance did that. It was that big of a difference when you.
It's about the size of half a step, so you get a step and a half every time you do it.
Huh. That's pretty good. I still have a fucking problem sidestepping in this game. Like it's ridiculously frustrating. Like I just don't understand.
I don't think it's just you. I think the way now that they've just a general gripe about the sidestepping in this game. It's like it's a game that is based around the whole 8-way run concept, but really it's like 8-way block. Don't move, you're gonna get counter hit. So I don't know. That's just one irritation I have with the game. It's like don't move, you're gonna get hit.
Well,
yeah, I feel like they put in the new mechanic of the just guard, and they're using that as an excuse to tone down step. It's like we don't want you moving around that much. We want you to use our new shiny defensive option more, so we're going to limit your other options here.
In the words of JOP, Texas player, for those who don't know him, it's turned into a game of Rock'em Sock'em Robots, where everybody just is all up in each other's grill and just bashing buttons. Oh my god, he's so mad. Like from what I hear, he's completely put down the game because of the patch version. Because I didn't realize this, but I guess there's in the unpatched version, there was some sort of, I don't want to call it a cancel per se, but it was something like that, where you could backdash, cancel, backdash, and you could keep doing that.
Yeah,
but you
just do back guard.
Yeah, but you can't.
There was the other version where you could step and then hold back and then guard, because the back would then cancel the step and you'd be able to guard more quickly. They did away with that, and they increased the amount of time it takes to guard while backdashing. So
so he because
stuck people to
because of the whole Tekken mindset, backdash canceling is king. That's the fundamental of the game. And he's like, I'm done. I'm not playing this fucking game anymore. I can't get away from anybody. I don't want to play. Oh man, listen to that guy gripe, is hilarious. But yeah, I kind of go back to more gripes about the game. As good as the game is, we have a lot to complain about. But I really feel like if you're going to have this sidestep mechanic, where the whole idea is if you successfully sidestep something, you can kill your opponent for it, and conversely, if they catch you stepping, you're going to get killed for it. The step should be better, and it's just not. Like so many bees track
more consistent from character to character.
Yeah,
I think
it's just crazy how inconsistent sidestep is. But because I can't tell you how many Bs have hit me that are just they're not tracking moves. It's like, why is that move hitting me? Like Natsu's BB, for whatever reason, that second one just loves to hit people. But
and certainly there are persistent bugs that they've had since Soul Calibur 1. From Valdo's point of view, it's trying to throw Siegfried or Nightmare from point blank range. It can't be done. And that has been in the game for so long. You would think that this would sort of be a top priority for them, but they just want you to stand still more.
Yeah.
That's their
they
answer.
do. They want you to stand still and just fucking throw out your huge move. One thing that I wish they would change, since there's such this heavy emphasis on just guard, like you mentioned, I wish it was easier to just guard off the ground. Like that's one thing that I thought was kind of weird, because you have the guard break system, and it's so hard to just guard off of the ground. So you can put people in a lot of these, like if you take Yoshi for example, he's bad at breaking guard, but like let's say he does his full crouch through K, just knocks you down real quick, and then boom, then he does I don't know 8-8B or something to kind of crush your guard. There's not much you can do about it. I mean, it's really hard to just guard it when you're coming off the ground, so you're just going to have to sit there and block it. But I know like characters like Nightmare, Siegfried, once they have you on the ground, because there are so many of their moves hit grounded, you kind of have to just get up and block it. But
I'd say it's about the same for almost every character. I mean, if you have somebody else blinking red and they're on the ground, they have to either take the break right now and die, or die to whatever move you have that puts them back on the ground over and over. It's a situation that comes up so often, and it shouldn't.
Yep, and that's exactly what I'm talking about too. That's I mean, just guard is kind of goofy enough as it is. It'd be nice if you could kind of do it in all situations, but
yeah, and you can't GI without meter either. So if you're in that position and you've used all of your meter, you are more or less screwed.
And I have to ask this question because I like rarely ever use GI, but I presume that you can GI off the ground.
If you have enough frames, I mean, it has startup just like every other move.
Gotcha. Well,
yeah, that is a gripe as well. I mean, going back a little bit to the sidestep thing, it's like, okay, what I think would be cool, maybe other people will disagree, but this is me coming from my Soul Calibur 2 step guard mindset. But if like, so you can sidestep and you can't guard for X amount of frames, 20 frames or whatnot, but they should allow you to sidestep and then just guard just fine. I don't know. That's just me. Because then you're taking a risk where if they like, mix up the timing and try to just guard, you're going to get hit anyways. I don't know. That's just something I would like to see.
I think that would bring up pretty much the same problem as step guarding had before, where you can sidestep and then just guard safeguard, like do the one tap, let go, and then hold down the second time, and that would pretty much make you invulnerable. So if they do a quick step killer, that will get just guarded. If they do a slower step killer, you're back to the frame that you can block on again. So I think that would be kind of a double-edged sword. It would make the game just as turtly.
I don't know. I like step guard though. So
yeah, I don't mind it either, but I understand why a lot of Calibur players don't like it, as well as Namco, because they want you to commit to that sidestep. But just with the Tekken background that I have, it's all about movement and being able to move safely. So I'm all about that. I've gotten over my whole guard button fears long ago. But I would still love to have some sort of mechanic where I can move around and block without any sort of problem whatsoever. I can block whenever I wanted to, cancel my movement and block. But again, at the same time, I understand why they want you to commit to that. But I agree that the whole just guard, I hate that you can double tap that. I mean, it's cool, it's neat, it helps you out, but I wish that you had to commit to the just guard more than you actually do, rather than kind of option selecting it and just tapping it, and if you don't get it, you just guard. That kind of sucks, but which I'm kind of torn because I don't really understand why that's in the game, but at the same time, you can't just mash guard and just guard. Like, it seems like the same sort of principle, but
Yeah, I don't know. I blame my step guard loving on WC Maxi. So, because we would play games and all he would do was yell at me for not step guarding.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was crucial in Caliber 2. You know, you had to do it. If you weren't step guarding, you were losing. It's that simple. But different game. But when we talked to Bibulus, though, you know, the whole one of the reasons that I don't really care about the quick step guard was mostly because who cares? I mean, your guard, because of guard break, which wasn't in Caliber 2, because of guard break, you have to either commit to the sidestep or commit to blocking. Even if you sidestep and cancel it and block, you're still blocking. You have to cut your sidestep short and not go as far in order to block. So
there's still an upper limit to the amount of turtling that you can do before you get punished for it.
So I don't know. I really didn't care about kind of what Billy said. You know, we come from backgrounds where moving and being able to guard right away it's just part of the game. So it's any sort of cancel like that is not really a big deal, but they still have some tweaks to do for sure with the whole just guarding and guard break system. But it's new.
I'm sort of surprised that this new guard mechanic hasn't led yet to some sort of game-breaking bug. Like every new guard mechanic before led to things like step 2Gs and variable cancels in 3. So at least they didn't create a new bug in doing so.
That we know of yet.
That we know of yet. We're still working on it. We're looking for it.
Oh, there's somebody out there with what's the fucking disease called where Asperger's. There you go. Is that right? I think that's right. Yeah. There's somebody with Asperger's out there who's working on it right now. He's in the dungeon of his parents' house, and you'll see it here within the next few months, just in time for Evo, so that whoever comes out of nowhere can just fucking win the tournament. But
actually, speaking of bugs, that I haven't tested them myself, but I got a text message from Dan telling me that with the new changes to Hild, there is an infinite possible with C2B, I believe.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't had a chance to test it out myself, but according to him, C2B is now an infinite. You just C2B, C2B, C2B.
Well, that would suck if that were true. Yeah.
So we're going to have to do some testing on that.
We will have to do some testing on that, but I know Dan, and I know he likes to get he likes to. Don't get me wrong. Dan is he's an excellent player, and he's very creative in the things that he comes up with. But sometimes he gets a little giddy, and he thinks that things are possible that aren't really possible. So I really hope he's wrong about that.
Me too. I mean, I don't want the doomed combo number 2 to become commonplace.
But kind of to go back to what we were talking about in our previous podcast with Bibulus, with all these we've only had one patch so far, but you've already mentioned the fact that they're in the works for another one. So at least it seems like they're dedicated to making sure the game isn't completely broken. It might have its broken features, but it won't be ever completely unplayable, which is the goal. It's at least have it enjoyable, have it be decently balanced, and if you're going to have some sort of broken shit, at least give it to everybody. So,
or if you find this broken shit and you want it gone, make some noise about it, because they're listening to the community, at least in part.
But it'd be nice if there was like a go-to person in the community that people could reach out to.
Ostensibly, it's supposed to be Filthy Rich. I mean, he's the community manager. He's the guy who's supposed to be the liaison between Namco proper and everybody who's playing the game. So, that's his job. If you want to speak to somebody about something, I would say send it his way.
Excellent. That's what I was trying to get to, because I not 100% sure like how that works. Like I know he's the community manager, but I don't really know what that means. So I know he's out there. He's repping the community, and we're obviously working with Namco as well. But like the specifics of what he does and what he passes along to Namco, like I don't really know. So
as I understand it, it's his job to both promote Soul Calibur at big events like game shows and tournaments, and to be the liaison between the community. So he's on boards. He's actually on 8-Way Run fairly often. He comes into the chat room and talks to people. So if you need to get in touch with him, there are a plethora of ways.
Nice. Very nice. So out of curiosity, does anybody know how what the turnout was for NCR? Were there more people at that than MLG?
I don't know the exact numbers, but watching the stream afterwards, I got recaps of the stream. It looked like there was way more people there for Calibur than there were at MLG.
I remember seeing a picture of some dude sleeping and saying that he was sleeping amongst 300 people. And so, like, I really don't know. I want to say there was a bunch there, because I know the scene over there is getting quite big.
Yeah. Well, and that was the big question going into final round, right? Or coming out of final round, because there weren't a lot of West Coast players there. So it's like, okay, what does West Coast have? Who's out there? Who's going to be the big killers? But and none of them apparently came out to MLG, but they were all doing.
Well, that's quite the ways for them,
Yeah. Yeah, but you figure if you think that you have a legitimate chance to get top 8, I mean that's 16 grand. So I have a feeling that what was the payout for NCR? It was just the entry fees, right? I mean they didn't have any big sponsors. So
yeah, I don't think so. It says there was 100 people participating, and that No Face Killer got first, Alex Popoff King J got second, Zeph got third, Zignia got fourth, Hates and Snort got fifth, and Jenver and Cedric got seventh, tied for seventh.
So so I mean it's kind of interesting. Obviously you want to support your local stuff, so I know at least Hates for sure is I mean he's North Cal.
Oh,
so
your mic is tweaking out right now.
We're having a bad storm right now, so I'm sure that has something to do with it. Although for those listening, my mic is going to be completely okay for you because the recording is on my end. But I guess when you're talking, it cut out a little bit. But that's okay. It wasn't too bad. But we're in the Midwest. We have to deal with them storms and tornadoes and whatnot. So that's what we got to do. But yeah. So okay. Question. Esom, because you probably know more about this than I do. The MLG thing. So they were doing the Winter Championships. Are they planning on having Soul Calibur at any other upcoming events?
Well, the next one I'm coming to is going to be Ultimate Fighting Game Tournament, UFGT, in Chicago. Yeah. There might be something sooner than that. I'm not sure though.
No, I mean like specifically with MLG. Do you know? Are they going to keep doing Calibur? Or are they?
I haven't heard definite, but they said that they're adding it to the lineup, meaning it's going to be at more than one event. So I'm not sure what next event for them is.
Well, hopefully we can kind of bitch slap some sense into them, and I'm kind of curious, like, because again, I've actually never been to an MLG thing, so I don't know a lot about it. I only know what I hear and I only know what I read, and of course what I see on the stream. But for MLG, the people who run that, the actual bracket runners, they aren't part of the communities, are they? Like, for example, the StarCraft guys, like they're not StarCraft players; they're just people who work for MLG.
No. I believe for the other games, they are actual community members who have been hired to do the job, but they are taken from the actual community. As far as I could tell, though, from Soul Calibur, nobody there knew what the hell they were doing. Like, nobody in that area had any connection to fighting games at all.
See, because that's the one thing that really confuses me about MLG and their apparent want to pick up fighting games, because I'm pretty sure Tekken had the same problem. I mean, you'd know more about the KOF and Mortal Kombat and whatnot that they had there. But if you're going to play these games, why would you not go get people who are from the community to run them? Like, I don't understand why there's such a lack of I mean, I guess you can call it commitment. I don't know what you would call it, but it's like, why? I don't understand why they're not trying to get reputable people to run these things.
I can't say for certain, but from my own experience, fighting games are not the core for them. It's not where they make their money. It's not who the sponsors are giving them money to promote.
Yeah.
It's the Halo and the StarCraft. That's what they care about. That's their cash cow. That's what people are giving them sponsorship money for. So everybody else is just by the wayside. I mean, it's just to perhaps dip their toe in and see what sort of interest there is. But at this point, it's not something you're real concerned about.
I really wish, and this is one thing. I love Evo, but I do have my own gripes with Evo and certain individuals and how Evo is run. But for the most part, it's a really good event. I love Evo. I've been many times. I advise everyone to go. But despite my own gripes and my own issues with Evo and certain aspects of Evo, I really wish that they would just step up and take complete control of the fighting game community and just actually get some cohesion going on. Because it's even despite all the money that MLG was just throwing at Caliber, it would be really nice to see something that's more consistent and has enough pull like MLG that they can get this kind of sponsorship cash, yet still be at the core fighting game. I don't know how to really word that. Like fighting game.
I think I know where you're coming from. The problem is just the total fan base that each side is coming from. The fighting game fan base for like Street Fighter, yeah, it's getting really, really big. Like there are lots and lots and lots of people interested in watching the streams and even participating in the tournaments. But compared to the number of people around the world who are interested in StarCraft, it's a drop in the pan. So I mean, they would have to substantially increase the fan base before that sort of changeover to the fighting game community would ever happen.
Yeah, I just figured like by now, with the size that Evo has gotten, that they would have kind of tried to push the envelope a little more than just making qualifiers. That just kind of, I mean, essentially qualifiers are just labels for somebody else's tournament. And they don't, Evo doesn't run those tournaments, but you'd think, I mean, I can't even remember what happened with the whole Japan thing, because I remember they were trying to do an Evo Japan, and I think it fell through.
I think that happened at the same time as the big earthquake over there. I think they tried their best to get that going, but
yeah, but like it would make more sense, at least to me, to try to, from Evo's perspective, to start running their own tournaments, or at least start, because I believe that Evo is technically, I think they're an LLC, they're a limited liability company, I think. And if they were to just kind of start piecemealing stuff and maybe, start slow, maybe take over North Cal and SoCal regionals and make those part of that company and then start branching out. Like, I'm surprised they haven't like tried to make a move like that yet, but I don't know. Maybe it's in the works and we just don't know it. But it would be nice to see some more cohesion and just not have MLG come here and fucking prostitute us out. It's like, hey, we're gonna run a shitty tournament, but guess what? We got 16 grand. You want to come?
For my own part, I would encourage anybody who thinks that they actually have a chance to go and fight. And if you don't think you have a chance, boycott the shit out of them.
Absolutely.
Do not go and add to the pot. Do not be a pot monster at an MLG event.
Good advice.
I can feel that.
I like that. I like that advice a lot. Just make it like the top 32 in the world.
Yeah.
they're the only people who go.
If they are not willing to increase the quality of their product, do not support buying their product, and their product being entry fees.
Absolutely, I agree. And their entry fees are a little high too, aren't they? Aren't they like
very high?
$50 or something like that?
$50, yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember I was looking into going into the Ohio one when they had Tekken, and I remember looking at the prices, and it was pretty steep. But I mean, I guess if they're paying out 16 grand, whatever. But
right.
Yeah, that's a little too steep to be a pot monster. I mean, you can't afford that.
And
True.
I wouldn't suggest it. The only way to get a better quality product from them is to boycott them.
I absolutely agree, sir. And from the sounds of it, I'm guessing it'll probably be a while before they do another fighting game MLG. So we'll probably have a little ways to wait to bitch about them again. But so we had NCR, and I guess just kind of recap people who I don't know, maybe you're new to the fighting game scene or whatever. So we had NCR MLG this last weekend, and then we have Power Up coming in April. April 13th, I believe, is the first day. That's the date. Pretty sure that's the Friday that it starts. Billy and I will be there. Since you just went to Ohio, Esom, I'm guessing you're not going to be at Power Up.
Yeah, I'll be out until UFGT, I think.
Yeah, but yes, May is UFGT 8, Big Chicago tournament. I guess I'm guessing, Billy, you're going to go to that with us as well. So
Yeah, probably.
yeah, I think all three of us will be there. So it'll be fun times. Hopefully, maybe one of us will qualify for Evo. But I guess we'll see what happens. And then June, what's happening in June? I feel like there's a regional or something that happens.
We're getting crazy in June. Why
We
not?
get crazy. When is CEO? Does anybody know?
I think it's normally. I thought the last CEO was like not terribly long ago, like maybe 6 months ago, but I couldn't really tell you.
Because I know that they're doing one here soon because they're a qualifier for Evo, but I cannot for the life of me remember when it is. Because I'm definitely not going because it's Florida. I can't get down there. But man, I feel like there's something huge in June. And
Well, maybe we'll get some sponsors and they'll fly us down there. And
yeah,
that'd be
they'll
cool.
fly us down. I highly
So
doubt it.
if you guys want to sponsor us,
Yes, so that we can
let us know.
talk our
We will.
nonsense.
We got to talk to Extends and see if they want to extend us some plane
Cash.
tickets.
Yeah, some sponsorship cash. And then, of course, July 4th weekend. I don't know why the hell they picked that weekend, but they did. And that's Evo. So
What is up with that?
I will not be going to Evo since it's on July 4th. No way.
That was a terrible idea.
Yeah,
I think they have something up with the airlines. The airlines are like, yo, we need to make some cash. We're kind of falling behind. So
because everyone and their mother isn't going to be buying plane tickets.
We know all these nerds want to come over here and play the video games. So we'll cut you in 25%. Just have it on the 4th of July, and it'll be a great time.
Oh yeah, that was really bad.
I'm still going, but screw whoever decided that was a good idea.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going this year because I'm not dealing with the whole fourth traffic and I'm sure it's just everything is just going to be insanely expensive. But assuming that they don't do it on the 4th again next year, I'll probably go next year. But I'm definitely learning my lesson, and I'm staying at a cheap hotel. I can't be staying at the Rio for prime time weekends. That's just too expensive for me. I need to stay at Gold Coast for fucking $20 a night and call it a day. It's a block away, whatever. And my advice to anybody who's looking to go to Evo, don't stay in the hotel that Evo's at. Just don't do it. I don't care what deal that they give you. It's not going to be as cheap as staying at the Imperial Palace. It's just not gonna do it. And this year, it's at Caesars, I think, this year. So yeah, that's gonna be cheap.
Yeah, never.
Or get one of those Harrah's membership cards and go anywhere else where they have a casino, rack up some points, and get a free room.
Yeah, there you go. That's actually what fucking Fury did. When he went out to Evo last year, he was like, "Oh yeah, by the way," or not Evo. Sorry, we went to Vegas earlier this year, and he was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I get like all sorts of fucking offers all the time from my email." In my email. So, oh, hey, yeah, week free at why not? Let's do it. What? How do you fucking pull that off? So
Mateo Galvin and Katie Z from East Coast somewhere, I don't know where. They both have those hurrah things, and they're just showing off like all their accrued points, and they get like free weekend stays in any hurrah hotel. That's kind of baller.
yeah, well, and that's what Fury told me. He was like, "Listen, dude, when you go, if you haven't already, sign up for every single member card you can. Walk into a casino, see if they have a member area, and sign up for it. And eventually, you'll get some discounted shit." And that's pretty much what I did. I have a big ass stack of Vegas casino member cards, and if you happen to lose it, you just walk right up to it. Hey, I lost my card. Here's a new one.
It's not like free Vegas anymore like it used to be back in the day. I remember we would go out there for like family reunions, and like, you know, like my family would pay like $20 for like, you know, to live there for a year. So that's how cheap it was. And now it's like, you know, you got to pay like $400 a night to stay at Caesars. So.
You know, I'm curious. Like Vegas, I know every big city has deals to Vegas. Like there's deals to Vegas from everywhere. You know, it's the number one tourist attraction in the world, I'm pretty sure. And so I kind of understand why Evo wants it to be there, but at the same time, I'm a little curious why they haven't kind of explored other options. You know, like Chicago's a big one, New York. I hate New York. I mean, sorry to everyone who lives in New York, but I'm not a fan of that city. And but you know, there's options there. You know, you have Dallas and Houston. I know that they have a lot of...
I heard Cedar Rapids, Iowa was a prime time location.
Yeah, we're prime time. We're in middle of the country, you know, real easy to get to, equidistant from everything. So yeah,
I think that would triple the population of Cedar Rapids if they had Evo there.
Probably.
What we have like how many people do we have living here? Like
quarter mil.
Yeah. So
metropolitan area, if you include our little quote unquote suburbs, which we have two. But
I'm from the burbs.
Yeah, if you include those, it's a quarter mil. So we're not all that big.
We're big time. We're big time.
You know, it's kind of I'm from like an organizer perspective. You wonder if maybe they might not try that for a year, because I mean the standard of living obviously in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, is way lower than Vegas. So everything here is cheaper, including the hotels. So you rent out the biggest ballroom in one of the hotels, and it costs you maybe 5% of the ballroom that you get in Vegas. And as a result, you make all the cash. So, you know, entry fee is
they used to hold them. They used to hold them at Cal Poly, so I mean, it must have been some incentive for them to go out there.
Oh,
I'm sure it was mostly to attract sponsorship. I'm sure sponsors were like, "Oh, Cal Poly, no thanks. Move it to Vegas, and we'll talk."
Yeah. And I have a feeling that it's probably easier for international players to get to Vegas.
True.
Than it is maybe to get to Cal Poly, which I guess now that I think about it is kind of ass backwards because I mean you have LAX, which I would imagine is easier to get to than Las Vegas or McCarran International, but who knows? I don't know. We don't run it, so we can only speculate. But wow, okay, so that was a lot of bullshit that probably people didn't want to listen to, but that's okay. We got some good MLG bashing in, which is always a plus. I always like to bash him.
All right, so just for fun, I jumped into the 8-Way Run chat room, and I asked if anybody had any questions for Esom. And Alex J wants to know how you got such an awesome name.
His parents gave him to.
My mom named me that. That's my real name.
He's actually going to type it. Dude, make him wait for the podcast to come out.
Well, I got to give the people what they want, you know?
I guess.
He just laughs.
Oh, that's funny. Is there how many people are in the chat room right now?
I don't know, 37.
Oh, that's not too bad.
If we just want fun Esom knowledge, I know this will be news to you guys. I'm getting married.
Say what?
Yes.
Are you getting married to Britt?
I am getting married to Britt.
Am I going to be your best man?
You are always my best man, but
But no.
Muslim marriage is a little bit different. We don't really have a best man, but you are both invited.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. That's awesome.
I at least want to be a groomsman, if not the bride.
Well, I can
I'll be a
marry
bridesmaid.
brides. I am a Muslim, so you can be one of them.
Oh, my God, my life is not complete.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I have a couple other questions here. Alex
Okay.
J also wants to know. He wants to know why you always played Voldo.
Because he is the most interesting character in the game. I almost always play like the crazy character, the character that nobody else wants to play. Like I play Shundi and Blanca and stuff like that. It's just the most fun.
And I apologize for anybody listening that has to listen to my mechanical keyboard be extremely loud.
It's actually not too bad. It doesn't sound too loud. I mean, I can hear you typing, but we should make this a regular thing where we just jump in the chat room while we record these podcasts. So, kind of as a plug to the 8-way run chat room board, you never know when we're going to bounce in there. So, stay in there all the time.
And then your next question, Esom. MKL asks, why is Callisto Rush A plus G so overpowered?
Because nobody likes ducking in this game because they don't see quick lows that are putting the other player at advantage. So he's one of the few.
All right, and then
Mitsu B, I guess, being the other one.
Heaton asks, ask him why backturn Callisto Rush A plus or throw either A or B is so dumb in this game, or whatever, or BS, or whatever notation those weird ass Voldos player use.
The back turn throws. You know, they kind of got a nerf. He doesn't have the same range as he used to. Like you have the almost identical range to where you start from. So if you're at like range 1 and you do that throw, you're still at range 1. So they kind of got nerfed a bit. The 6-6 Abe throw, the one that just turns around instantly and becomes a command throw, that one actually has a little bit more range than it used to. So I prefer that one.
You better fucking type that out, Billy, right now. That guy needs to know.
I'm going to tell him to listen to the podcast.
That's a good answer.
Oh, man.
I was reading the chat and I really wasn't listening. So.
Oh, wow. Well, you know what? That's kind of a good thing because it's starting to turn, with all these people, it's starting to turn into a Voldo podcast, which is not what I want.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah, we don't want that. We'll be here for
I don't want anybody else knowing anything about Voldo either. That really takes away from me.
Yeah, expect me to ask you to come on for Voldo, and you can give all the shitty strats you want and fuck up everyone's gameplay strategy.
Kind of like what I did with Raven.
I was looking through the bracket and I saw that you played in Kendu, and I haven't seen that guy for like 10 years. So did you catch up with him or talk to him or?
Yeah, I spent I spent almost all of my time the first tournament day with him, and we just we swapped Voldo shenanigans.
Yeah, because I know that he got pretty, like, he kind of fell out of the scene. I guess he was like, taking care of personal matters or whatnot, and then he just kind of hopped back in for Caliber 5. So I was interested to see. I like to see how old Caliber 2 players are doing, and I know like Fetz is playing the game, so I try to check out the tournaments in his area and see how he's doing. So
that reminds me actually another MLG story. Anybody who was watching the main stage fights could not hear announcements from the pool area, so people's names were getting called if they were watching the main stage and missing their matches, and they were DQing people. Like it's like 40 feet away, but we couldn't hear shit over there. So anyway, I'm supposed to play against Inkindu, and they start calling me, and I didn't hear it, so I got DQ'd one game, and then I came over and I beat them up, and then I left again.
Wow, the main stage? You mean like the main like streaming stage?
Yeah,
like
where they were streaming
StarCraft
stuff.
or whatever. Yeah.
Well, they had 3 different areas. They had the fighting game area, the StarCraft area, and then the like League of Legends / Halo area. But the main stage for Soul Calibur was less than 40 feet away. You just couldn't hear the announcements. Like if people's names were being called, they didn't also announce it in that area. So a lot of people got DQ'd.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned that. This just reminds me when there was an article on SRK not too long ago. I want to say it was like maybe a month ago or so from Ultra David, and he was talking about an MLG event that they went to, and how different fighting game, like just the atmosphere of fighting games are from everything else. Because like everyone who's playing StarCraft or watching StarCraft, they want to watch it. It's like a show. You don't talk. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe you talk, but you're not very loud. You're being respectful, not trying to make a lot of noise. Whereas fighting game players, it's all about hype. How loud can you possibly get before people in another ballroom start yelling at you? Like it's like that sort of thing. And I remember
it's also a little bit split up by what region you're from, because there was a whole bunch of ATL players there. There's a whole bunch of Detroit players there, and those guys were just popping off at the top of their lungs all the time. Like the Midwest players and some of the Southern players, like Texas and stuff, they're just sitting there quietly. They would, clap politely when their teammate would win. But ATL would be, oh my god, that was so silent!
Dude, that's like old school ATL. That's Shadow G. Shadow G was the one who invented ATL and Solid.
Dude, you're not saying it right. It's Solid.
The legacy,
all right? It's Solid.
Yeah, the legacy of Shadow lives on in Detroit and current ATL players.
That's SOLDT.
Yes, for those who want to know how to spell it. Well, I know obviously RTD was there because he got second, but was Mick there?
Mick was there.
He was there. Yeah,
I'm about to say, dude, they're fucking old school. I mean, you're talking at least for Mick, fucking former Evo champ, for Caliber. So I don't think RTD never won an Evo, did he?
The one that Mick won / didn't win, actually he split the pot with RTD that year. I don't know if he was officially the winner, but they split the pot. That last game was bullshit.
That was the worst ever. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, the Baldo on Baldo finals. No, thank you.
If you're gonna do that, I'm okay with it because it's your prerogative to split the pot, whatever. But play it out. I mean, play it out. Just at least try to win.
That's what everybody said, and I'm almost certain why Soul Calibur was not invited back the following year.
Because it was still huge after that. Still,
yeah.
I mean, Caliber 2 had quite the longevity, and either way, we're not going to get into that.
It's the whole other issue.
I'm trying to stay away from the Soul Calibur 2 fanboyism because I just can't help it.
Well, who knows? Maybe eventually, they'll take out run counters and just guarding and guard break, and you'll have Caliber 2.
I'll be a happy man.
Hey, it's only 3 changes, I mean, you could add a 2G in there, I guess, but I mean, you don't have to. Just three little system changes. It's not really a big deal. Cool. Well, man, we've been talking for a while, man. We've hit a lot of subjects, so I have completely run dry of MLG and tournament, and Caliber discussions and stuff. So,
I actually have a question for Esom.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that your one actual loss was to Woes. So tell us about that match.
Woes is so on point with his punishment and his just frames that I couldn't even create opportunities to open him up. I was just in a whole nother world of destruction against him. Like I couldn't phase him. He was just too good.
What? Who's it? He's play Alpha?
Alpha Patroclus, yeah. He was hitting every just frame he ever tried against me. Like I kind of didn't stand a chance. Like I've never really been blown up that badly. I mean, even the top of the top players, usually I will hold my own. I can take sets from them. This was embarrassing.
But you haven't had a whole lot of alpha practice, I would imagine.
Not really. I mean, she wasn't great when it was Setsuka. She wasn't great in 4. I guess she was great in 3, but nobody wants to play that piece of crap game. But still, I mean, I'm not taking away from this guy. It's just pure mechanical skill. It had nothing to do with my matchup knowledge. He was just that much better.
I knew that he played Setsuka in 4, and he was pretty much considered the top or the best, if not the absolute best player of the game.
Certainly, he only every tournament from what I've heard, every tournament that he entered, except for 2, he won. But I don't remember seeing him at anything other than East Coast tournaments.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going off what other people said. So.
I'm not saying he's not good. I'm saying he's great. He's absolutely great. But on that day, my Voldo was not cutting the mustard.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's good to have at least somebody out there that's showing people how to play alpha, because on paper, he looks amazing, but we have yet to really see that player, except up until him, I guess, who can just on point with everything when it comes to alpha. Mm-hmm. And in order for him to be top tier, that you need to be. So you need to be hitting all the just frames, all of them.
Yeah, and I watched a lot of his matches because I was kind of interested in learning Alpha Patroclus, because I got to find a new character and all. So and yeah, that guy is super duper good, and I was really impressed with everything he does. He's just he's a really good player, but he didn't even place top 8 with Alpha Patroclus, so. So
I think he went out right after playing me too.
I'm pretty sure he did, because I'm pretty sure he beat you, and then he lost to somebody. Obviously, he lost to somebody, but who? He lost to he beat you, and then he beat Oofmatic, and then he lost to IL Tokyo.
That's Hawkeye.
Oh, yeah. Then he lost to that guy, Hawkeye.
Hawkeye also is a very solid player. I was much closer in my matches against him, but just the difference between the damage that Natsu can put out versus the damage that Alpha Patroclus can put out, I can definitely see that was going to be a difficult match for him.
Yeah, and pre-patch Natsu, just she could do 6 A plus B, and if she had if she had the chance to A plus B, or to Brave Edge through you, that made that move completely safe. And I thought that move was just a little bit too overpowered for what it was. So, and it just gave you way too much damage.
Yeah, and it's all done.
Yeah, it's all good. All of it.
Yeah, but I kind of was like, okay, and if they, I'm gonna go on this rant again, is that if they want to do a fixed Natsu and still make her, still keep the players who are playing her happy, and then make the players who are playing versus her happy, they could have done one of 3 things. They could have nerfed her damage all across the board, and just made everything she do, all of her combos and stuff, just do less damage, which I would have totally been okay with. So make me guess, 5 to 7 times instead of having to guess twice. They could have removed the throw and change on the ground, throw it to the poor people, remove that stun. And that would have made people happy. I mean, that wouldn't have fixed her overall damage problem, but it would have been a start. You could have just nerfed her in little increments, or you could have nerfed 6 A plus B, and made the damage off that different, or make the combo potential, make it so you can only combo it in. You can't get the counter hit off the 6 A plus B like they did change, but they decided to change all 3 of them. So I'm a little butthurt.
And then they should give all that stuff to Voldo.
Then I would play Voldo.
Oh man, I wish they would give Astaroth a quick 2A. That's what I want. That's what I really want in life. It's just a quick little poke that tracks, even if it's special mid. I would play him again, for realsies, but I can't. Now I play Yoshi because I'm a scrub. But that's how it goes. Cool. Well, any other questions, Billy? Because
nobody else said anything. I told them they'd have to listen to the podcast.
And they're like, "Fuck you! We want our answers now."
And then I said I really wasn't listening to Esom, so I'm not going to type out his message. And then Alex J kind of belittled me a little bit, saying, "You're telling us to listen to the podcast, to listen to what Esom says, because you can't listen to him." And I was like, "That's true."
That's pretty much exactly what he just said. You know what, Alex J? I'm gonna invite you on the podcast, so you can tell everybody how you feel about us. At least he was willing to participate and ask you some questions. But well, that's all we got.
So
I mean, we got
I have
tons
a
of.
question for
What's
Esom
up?
before
Go
he goes.
for it.
When are you coming back to visit us?
That's so not
when's
a question anyone else cares about.
next monthly, I'll be there.
Cool.
Sweet. Yes, and everyone else listening is invited to our monthly if you want to come out. Cool. Well, that's all we got. Any final words to anybody, Esom? Any I don't know, shout outs? You want to hate on somebody, or I don't know, anything you want to do? I'm giving you an open mic.
I hate everybody connected to MLG right now. Fuck.
Because
Fuck all of
technically
them.
you're still in the tournament.
Or yeah, my tournament has not ended, and it doesn't end until I get another loss.
Which maybe never. You might be in the eternal tournament. It's like Eternal Champions, because that was a good
purgatory
game.
of tournaments. Funny. Well, thanks for coming on, Esom. It's been a pleasure, as always, talking to MLG and give everyone else out there a little insight into why you should never go to MLG unless you think you should win. So that's what I got. Nothing special. So any final words from you, Billy, before we put a cork in it?
I love you, Esom.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I love you too. And apparently, you have
thanks.
a woman apparently that loves you. I don't know when you started getting into chicks, but whatever.
I'm upset.
He's visibly upset through the microphone.
You will still be my first, my last, and my everything, Billy.
Word.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Billy, for being my lovely co-host, and thank you, Esom, for being my lovely Esom. So thanks everyone for listening. Hopefully, we didn't bore you too much, and we will be back next time with again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. Our next guest is actually somebody who attended NCR, so we'll have some first-person perspective from NCR instead of MLG, and then hopefully after that we'll get somebody from Power Up. Even though we're going, we still need a guest from Power Up, so I'm guessing that will be the guest after that. But yeah, that's a little look into the crystal ball. We hope you enjoyed everything you heard, and we will catch you next time.